Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Baxter,
Present.
Commissioner Flores, Commissioner Marino,
In the house.
Commissioner Powell,
Here.
Commissioner Sachs, Commissioner Weiss,
I am here.
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Here.
Thank you.
If you are able, please stand for the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Father, guide us in the duties we are about to perform. Give us wisdom to make the best decisions for all of our citizens. Help us to remember that no problem is too small to escape concern and perplexity too great to resist solution. Amen.
Amen. Deputy Administrator, any additions or deletions?
Mayor, good morning. I will ask Wendy to go through our add delete sheet.
Thank you.
Okay, starting under B5, CA 2025-956 Calvary Chapel Christian School, we have an amendment to Exhibit G to add additional letters from both interested parties as well as the South Indian River Water Improvement Control District. On D8, the Lake Worth Road annexation ILA, we've included additional backup and a link for that item. Under F, other workshop items, item 11, the Law Enforcement Municipal Service Taxing Unit. We've amended the backup information with a link. Item number 12, County Road 880. We've also included additional backup information and a link, and we've modified the agenda summary with the additional requests and staff recommendations for that particular item. On C, ULDC revisions, we've added an item 13 relative to large-scale data centers, a request for permission to advertise relative to the moratorium. That's it.
Thank you, Wendy. And real quick, before we take that motion, has there been notice?
Yes.
And I need a proof of publication. We have proof of publication and the swearing in attorney.
Mayor, I'm sorry, may I be recognized?
Yes, you may.
May I please have the maker and the seconder for that motion?
Commissioner Flores and Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Will all those wishing to speak on today's items please rise and raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
Thank you so much. Additions, deletions, and substitutions were covered. I will enter. Attorney, are you, in order, I have a request to reorder the agenda. Would you like us to do that now? Yes. I would like to move item number 9, the ag reserve tier, to the beginning of the agenda. Well, not to the beginning, I should say prior to Calvary Chapel.
So that would be after consent?
Yep.
But do you want it after, I'm sorry, do you want it after 3 and 4? Calvary is number 5.
Yes,
So it would be item 3, item 4, then item 9.
correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioner Sachs, would you like to make that motion to reorder the agenda?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to reorder the agenda so that, as discussed by Wendy, that it would be Ag Reserve before, and tell me again, 3 and 4, so that it's on the record.
You'll have item 3, 4, and then 9. 3 is Piper's Glen PUD, 4 Palm Cove subdivision, then we'll jump to 9, the workshop, and then it'll be Calvary after that.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Motion made.
I have a motion by Commissioner Sacks, a second by Commissioner Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Please say that the motion carries. Is that your motion? I have a motion by Commissioner Weiss, a second by Commissioner Flores to adopt the agenda. All in favor? Any opposed? Please see that the motion carries 7-0. Any requests to pull items from consent? None seen. I will entertain a motion to adopt consent. Actually, before we vote on this, disclosures. Do we have any disclosures for consent? And I will start from right to left. Commissioner Marino.
On item number 1, I do have disclosures. I had verbal with Joni Brinkman, Ken Tuma, John Clark, Cam Sessions, and Kyle Holt, and written correspondence filed with the clerk.
Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On consent, I have no disclosures.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Woodward.
No disclosures.
I also have no disclosures. Commissioner Flores,
No disclosures.
Commissioner Weiss,
No disclosures.
and Commissioner Sacks.
No disclosures.
Thank you so much. Do we have any cards on consent? Perfect. We have a maker and a second. We did that before we did disclosures. It was Commissioner Weiss, I believe, Commissioner Marino, and Vice Mayor Woodward. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say the motion carries 7-0. Perfect. Moving on.
On the regular agenda, A, 3, and 4 are kind of companion items. Item 3 is DOA 2025-00313, Piper's Glen PUD. It's a development order amendment. Item 4, Z 2025-00315, Palm Cove subdivision. That is a request for an official zoning map amendment. If you'd like to do disclosures before the applicant does a presentation. So.
Okay, we will start again right to left. Commissioner Marino, any disclosures for their companion items?
None, thank you.
No disclosures.
Commissioner Powell, Vice Mayor Woodward.
No disclosures.
No disclosures. No disclosures.
And for Commissioner Sacks, on number 3, I've received emails from Josh Nichols of Schmidt Nichols, and that's filed with the clerk, and I've had a phone conversation with Bonnie Mescal, no site visit, and I've also had emails from the Tuscany Bay Board of Directors, and those are filed with the clerk. Number 4, emails received from Josh Nichols of Schmidt Nichols, Landscape Architecture, and Paul Berliner and Steve Kirshner. And of course, the Tuscany Bay Board of Directors have been filed with the clerk, and I've had phone conversations with Bonnie Mescal. No site visit. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
Yep.
We have 2 comment cards that are downstairs. Is it okay to call them up so that they're making their way up as we're getting the presentation?
Absolutely, please do.
All right, so I believe in the first floor, I have Mr. Jeffrey Stevens, if he can please make his way up, and Seymour Schwartz, and that person is in the atrium. So if they can make their way up, Seymour Schwartz and Jeffrey Stevens.
And who would you like to call to the podium? You can do a presentation?
Staff, or the agent can do a presentation. Just for the record too, I've been noticed that we have 2 people at Vista Center for item 3, but they do not wish to speak, so.
Okay.
Just letting-
Perfect. Yeah, call them up.
All right, so here in the chambers, we have Rose Berliner. I apologize if I misread that. Rose Berliner, Paul Berliner, Steve Kirschner. We have two
If
podiums,
you
please
hear
come
your
up. Yeah,
name
come up.
asked,
We got
please
two
come up to the
podiums.
podium.
Do we have a applicant presentation?
We're taking,
We should take the applicant's presentation before taking public comment.
okay. You heard the attorney. If the applicant would please come forward.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. Bonnie Miskell, I have been sworn. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. Thank you for hearing us today. And as staff discussed, we have 2 companion items with 3 and 4, and we understand you have a very busy agenda. So we have consolidated for purposes of ease and also so that it's not redundant for you. So we'll get started. Okay, so the first item is a request to remove, it's a development order amendment, and it's a request to remove 2.39 acres of land from the Piper's Glen PUD. You may remember, back in May, I presented to you a case that was related to the western side of Piper's Glen. This is the easterly side of Piper's Glen PUD. The second item, which is item number 4, is a rezoning from residential transition with a special exception for PUD to RS to support a subdivision in 7-lot, single-family subdivision. Okay. So the site is on the southwest corner of Piper's Glen Boulevard and Military Trail. It is 2.39 acres. It appears that it had a sign for Westchester Village for many years. The sign's been removed. What prompted us to come here is that this site has been sold. The association chose not to, that they didn't need a sign anymore, and they chose to sell the property off and remove one of their maintenance costs. So the site is shown in red, and it is surrounded on the south side and west side by the Tuscany Bay community, and we know a number of them are here to speak today. On the east side, Delray Dunes, east of Military, and north is Cascade Lakes. Generally, the area is single, the PUD in particular, contains single-family, townhome, and 0-lot line with some additional other uses within the PUD. So again, I just discussed it, but I mentioned Tuscany Bay, which is outlined in blue, the most immediately impacted community. And the site was previously occupied by a sign. It was removed, and there is significant landscaping out there. I'll start with all of the native vegetation will be saved through this project and relocated. We have significant buffers, which we will get into. The land use for this is MR5, 5 units per acre, which would typically allow up to 12 units. We are only proposing to do 7 dwelling units here. The zoning is residential transition with a special exception for PUD, and it is part of the Piper's Glen PUD. Oddly, the properties to the north and south are not within the PUD. We are connected to the PUD through Piper's Glen Boulevard. And again, it appears that it was used for major signage into their subdivision. And this is the site, RT, residential transition, existing zoning with a special exception for PUD, and RS, single family for the proposed zoning. This is the overall PUD. It is 645.19 acres. We hope that you'll amend the PUD to remove the 2.39. This is what it looks like prior to the sign being removed. Proposed lots, 7 single family. The density will not change on either the PUD property or the proposed development site. The land use is MR5, allowing 5 dwelling units to the acre or 12 lots. The proposed density is really 2.92, I believe, 3 dwelling units to the acre, with a reduction of 5 lots it's 42% lower than the land use would otherwise allow. The access to the site is off of Piper's Glen Boulevard, with an in and out for the 7 lots, and it has emergency access on Military Trail. The surrounding uses, the property to the south, subject site, are townhomes, and the nearest residential to the north is comprised with 0 lot line homes. This is a conceptual rendering of what the lots will look like on the site. There is a 40-foot right-of-way called Palm Cove Drive, which will provide immediate access. There's approximately 1/4 of an acre on the west side, which is a dry retention pond. We have, and I'm going to be saying this again, but a 20-foot buffer running along Piper's Glen Boulevard, a 20-foot on Military Trail, and we have 8 feet on the west side of the dry retention pond and 8 feet on the south side of these lots. This will give you a schematic of what the site will look like with a building pad. This particular zoning code requires no more than 40% coverage, maximum coverage. So what we did for the benefit of the neighbors is show what a building pad would look like on the site, reflecting the setbacks as well as the buffers that are there. And the nearest house to the south is approximately 93 feet from the back of the house that could be developed on this site. So it's a significant difference. And in between, you have about 27 feet from the back of the house to the actual buffer, and another 8 feet. So 33 feet from the back of the house is actually land owned by the developer, reflected here. We have had a number of meetings, a lot of phone calls. We started this well over a year ago, engaging with the community and also COBRA. And we very much appreciated their participation. We think we do have a better project with their help. But first one was February 2025. We met with Tuscany Bay, and I was at that meeting, and I'll tell you, they're a very engaged community, but they were very, very communicative with us, and we did appreciate that. It helped us cut to the chase at the beginning of the process. There were some things that they did ask of us. One was a wall, which my client agreed to. We haven't gotten into, we still have to, if this does get approved, we have to go to DRO, we have to plat the property, and we have to go in for permits. We will do the wall as early as the county will allow us to. However, there will be some relocation of trees and some clearing required prior to doing that. But we are committed to providing them both a visual screen early and minimizing the impacts that they may have through the construction period. March 10th, we met with the COBRA Growth Management group. We had a second meeting in June of 2026, which was recently. We've been trying to keep everybody apprised of where we are. And then from June 2nd through to recently, we continue to have dialogue and conversations with any of the neighbors that have follow-up questions. We've had quite a few. So we have to demonstrate that the development order is consistent with the criteria. Your staff has reviewed this. We have gone through a great deal of analysis. One example relates to open space. With 645 acres in the Piper's Glen PUD, it's a very large site. They were required in 1979 to have 35% open space. That number has changed over the years. It went from 35% to 0, and then it went to, a few times it went back to 0. Now the code would require 40%. We are maintaining the 39% that existed, that was vested through the approval in 1979. I think at that time it was 39.6, we're at 39.3. So it's a de minimis impact on open space. But I did want to speak about that because the neighbors had questions and concerns. We meet all of the criteria. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan. It's consistent with the zoning code. It's compatible with the uses around us. We are a single-family product. We have single-family townhomes to the south of us. We have 0 lot lines to the north of us, to the west of us. We also have townhomes. And within the PUD, it is a mix of 0, multifamily, and single. So we are certainly consistent with the character of the land surrounding us and compatible with them. We have met with the neighbors in order to minimize all of the impacts, maintaining all of the native vegetation, also providing the wall to reduce impacts. We have agreed to buffers and the extent and scope of those buffers to visually, again, minimize impacts and to create a lush area behind some of those homes to the south of us and west of us. Your staff has concluded that we are consistent and have met all the criteria within your comprehensive plan and your code. The zoning, again, going from RT with a special exception for PUD to RS, we have to also show consistency with the comprehensive plan, consistency with the code, that the proposed amendment is compatible. These are much the same as what we just talked about, and for all the same reasons we are. We also had to go through a concurrency analysis. We have gotten approval from the school board. We essentially have met all the concurrency requirements. Again, we still have to go through DRO and platting, and more restrictions and rules will be looked at during that time, and we intend to be compliant with all of them. We're not asking for any relief whatsoever. So I will turn it over to you for questions, or we can wait until after the public speaks, whatever the board wishes. And thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And we understand there'll be 2 separate votes, but we have consolidated our presentation into one. Thank you.
Okay. Would the board like a presentation from staff?
No.
No. Okay, then that will open it to public comments.
Were we able to get the residents from downstairs up here?
I hope so. All right, so we have 2 podiums. Please come up. You can line up one behind the other. We're trying to expedite this. Madam Mayor, how much time are we going to afford them?
Because of the amount of cards today, I think we have over 100. We're going to limit them to 1 minute.
All right, so we have Rose Berlinier. I have Paul Berlinier. Steve Kirschner, sorry. Seymour Schwartz, Jeffrey Stevens, and Michael Molinar. Thank you.
Commissioner Sachs, did you?
Yeah, I just want to note for the record that I believe these are the folks from an adjoining Tuscany. Okay, so I just want to be sure that they are noted, and that after they speak, I want to say a few words. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Ready for me?
Please state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Rose Berliner. I live at 12182 Roma Road in Tuscany Bay, which is the adjoining community to this property. Everyone knows that Piper's Glen is a rare jewel in Boynton Beach and in Palm Beach County. Anyone who goes to look at this property will see immediately what a sensible use is for it. And it is not to build 2-story homes or townhouses on it. If 2-story houses are built on it, they will look down on our roofs because our community is one-level edifices. We are also an over 55 community, and we treasure the quiet within our community and the surrounding areas.
Thank you so much. I know it is short. We just have a lot of comments today.
This is very short.
We have to.
Furthermore, it will be a crime to rip up
I'm
Piper's
so
Glen
sorry.
or harm it in any way. In this day and age, we all know how important it is
Ma'am.
to preserve scenic parcels. Can we preserve something
Sir, please
instead
proceed.
of letting
I want to say I take
greed
exception to you changing the rules.
everything
My name is
that we
Jeffrey
do?
Stevens. Good morning. I live at 5102 Tuscana Trail. From my front window of my home, I have an unobstructed view of this parcel. The picture that they showed up showed foliage. 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago when that property was purchased, within 6 months, all the foliage was completely removed. I don't know if a permit was approved or not. But Palm Beach County clearly states that non-residential sites are required to have a tree removal replacement permit of the trees. Was that done? Where are the replacement trees? There are none there. I bought this house for quiet enjoyment. I did my research. I saw that that parcel was designed for vacant recreation, not for residential use. I'm asking you to vote no. You do not have to approve this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Paul Berliner. I live at 12182 Boynton Beach, Aroma Road, Boynton Beach, Florida. I am the president of Tuscany Bay Homeowners, and I'd like to share the thoughts and concerns of my residents about the proposed Palm Cove subdivision on the land adjacent to our community. When the Westchester community was planned, planners and those who approved this development singled this 2-parcel acre of land out and said it should remain open with the following exceptions: allow for a sign, which it had for over 40 years, or recreational use and nothing else. The Westchester Master Association opted to sell that parcel of land. The developer purchased the parcel of land subject to the existing zoning use. The developer took a gamble in hopes that you will give him the zone change needed to proceed forward. Getting a zone change was never guaranteed. The people who planned and approved the Westchester development were crystal clear about this parcel of land. The only exceptions were for a sign or recreational use. As we invite more people to move into Florida and Palm Beach County, we really need to begin planning. I'm done?
Wrap up your thoughts.
All right. Planning is important. The people who sat in your seats many, many, many years ago planned the Westchester and thought it through specifically to isolate this parcel of land to be used for a specific purpose. We ask that you recognize their intent and continue to maintain their foresight. Commissioners, if you have the strength of character, then you will deny the zone change and allow this small piece of land to continue as it originally was planned for. I also have, Mayor Baxter, we put this out Friday. We have 329 people. Some of them are here. Some of them are in isolated areas. Who shall I present these to?
To staff,
These are
please.
people who oppose this, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Seymour Schwartz. I live at 12055 Levita Way, Boynton Beach in Tuscany Bay. I have 3 quick points. One is the property, I think it was a subversion of due process. This parcel is zoned for agriculture. I saw the picture up there of a very lush area. Someone bought the property without any permission, as far as we know, came in and cut every single tree down, and right now it's a barren area full of waste. That's number one. Number two is that the junction of Piper's Glen and Military Trail is a very dangerous intersection, and there's almost an accident there every single day. It's one of the worst in the community, in the county, and to have additional people and traffic on that road. Plus, there'll be an entrance on Piper's Glen, which is very narrow and would restrict, I believe, access of emergency vehicles, especially a fire truck couldn't get in there and turn around with houses, which would be a danger to residents. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Steve Kirshner, Tuscany Bay. I feel the commissioners have a responsibility to see that if this change is made, that it's done in a ways that follows the principles of open space, and that the new units don't encroach on their neighbors, many of whom have lived here almost 25 years. Most bought their homes anticipating that the parkland on their corner would remain zoned exactly as it was. If that is deemed to change, it should be done so by the rules and protecting the safety and well-being of the 1,000 families that live on the north and south sides of Piper's Glen. I hope to see them, that you take them into account as much as the 7 homes that are being built. I thank you very much, and would have said more, except I planned on 3 minutes, and I guess there's a lot of speakers, so you changed it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
I would also like to call up Debbie Murphy. Debbie Murphy.
Hi, good morning. My name is Michael Molinari. I live on Roma Road in Tuscany Bay. My point really is but I think a big point is that before I saw in the presentation that I guess the builder said that it was compliant with rezoning. Was it rezoned at all? Because all the trees and everything was cleared. Was there a permit issued? If there was no permit issued and it was still zoned the way it is right now, that is against Florida Statute 125.69. The builder was not allowed to do that. So I don't know if it was approved, maybe it was, maybe I missed something. But what do we expect if there was no approval to clear that land from a builder that went ahead and just assumed that he was going to get, or she was going to get the rezoning for this land? That I find is kind of a problem. The other thing is, was there any research done? A $2.5 million area with $2.5 million homes each, abutting against an area that the most expensive home is $600,000. To me, that's a problem. I think you should consider if they did their due diligence and if they could sell homes at that price there, and what's going to happen if they can't sell the homes. They cleared land they shouldn't have cleared. What are they going to do? Build 2-family homes next?
Thank you, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning. Debbie Murphy, First Vice President of COBRA. COBRA, along with our member communities, including Piper's Glen, Tuscany Bay, and Cascade Lakes, have met more than once with the Palm Cove developer and their agent, Smith Nichols Planning, to review their plans for the corner of Piper's Glen and Military Trail. This is a unique property based on the size and location as compared to the typical project found in the Cobra area. While the original plan, which was presented as 8 single-family units, has been reduced to the current 7, which is definitely seen in a positive light, we understand the concerns expressed by the neighboring communities as they relate to compatibility and drainage. Because the drainage is based on the gravity-fed system, we suggest that language in the future HOA documents be such that the rear lot swales must be maintained through time, ensuring the effectiveness of gravity-fed drainage system. With regard to compatibility, we appreciate the developer's willingness to continue their dialogue to mitigate any visual concerns from the southern adjacent property. As always, COBRA will work to navigate any of these issues, and thank you.
Thank you so much. Please state your name for the record.
Patrick O'Brien, Tuscany Bay, also a member of COBRA with my wife. I'm just going to read part of my statement, and I'll leave it here if you don't mind.
Thank you.
Only recently, we found out that this specific property was mentioned in the approval documents and was specifically restricted. It is to be open space. It can have recreation use and may have an additional sign. The owner of the master property has just removed land from its golf course to create 48 townhomes. It is a huge parcel of over 640 acres. Open space should be enjoyed by property owners and visually by those around it. Some of the owners at Tuscany Bay relied on the restrictions placed on this property when they purchased. And that's really it. There's more, but I really do recommend, and I know how much work has been put in, and the builder has worked well trying to make this, but finding out that it is restricted in its original documents and specifically is disheartening at this late date. By the way, I want to thank you, Mayor, Ms. Woodward. I want to thank you for your help with the development on Military. We're not opposed to development. And I want to thank Maria Sachs for all of her efforts over the years in representing us at Tuscany Bay.
Commissioner Sachs.
Sir, I wonder if you could come up, please. The gentleman who just spoke. Sir, you are, give us again the title that you have.
On COBRA, also COBRA Growth Management.
Okay.
And I have, within my personal life, 24 years in various land management situations.
So with COBRA and their growth management team, have you discussed this completely with
Yes, the
them.
meetings as represented by Ms. Murphy are accurate, and I'm not disqualifying that the owner hasn't tried to work with us. I'm simply pointing out that I think the property was sold and should not have been in the first place. It is restricted to recreation. And people at Tuscany Bay who bought in the last several years have been asking the people representing them on the sales what's happening. And this was never part of what they understood. They understood it to be restricted to recreation.
So it would be as if there was a sale of the property, and the people in Tuscany Bay did not know the differences in what was going to occur to that lot between the original owner and the owner today.
They did not know the restriction on the property that was in the original permission. And I take I always love the word de minimis. It's a big piece of property to us. And de minimis by 0.7% on an old rule, not a current rule, which is 40%.
Right?
They're taking away open space that rightfully can't be done.
Okay.
Even if we're talking about the entire property. Now, I think that the developer and the property owner probably were trying to deal in good faith. I just don't think they had good information.
Okay,
And I don't think the residents should pay for their mistake.
I understand.
Thank
you very much, sir.
Ms. Sykes.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. Attorney Darren, real quick, is this quasi judicial or is this?
This is quasi judicial, yes.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. So for staff, what was the underlying future land use for this parcel?
Good morning, Travis Goodson with the Planning Division. The underlying was medium residential, 5 units per acre, MR5 for this parcel.
So it's an MR5 parcel?
Correct.
All right, and who owned this parcel previously?
That I don't know.
Actually, the association sold it to my client.
So
Piper's Glen.
Piper's Glen, the association sold this land. I assume they have a board that met and represented them
That's correct.
and sold this land to somebody?
They felt that it was in their best interest. They chose not to maintain it any further. And it is a private piece of property. It was not dedicated to the public for use. It was shown as a condition, there was a use restriction, that it was going to be open space and a sign. That was what it was originally approved to be in 1979.
Was that at the request of the developer at the time?
I was around then, as you might know, but I did not participate, so I can't say for sure. But it would seem that their intent, first of all, it is incredibly disconnected from the rest of Piper's Glen. So there was an understanding clearly that it was not going to be used and that it was not part of the original master plan as far as development. So, but they did want a sign, and I suspect it was the developer, since I represent a number of developers, and advertising is always key, but I couldn't say that for sure.
Okay. And then just to, all right, that's the questions I have. Thank you.
Could I just correct something that was stated on the record? My client did obtain permits to remove the exotics and to relocate the native vegetation into the buffer areas. They did not cut everything down. The trees now run along the perimeter of the property, which would be in the buffers, and they only removed the exotics, which should have been done probably by the association for decades, but it didn't get done, so.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Thank you. My first set of questions is for staff. I've heard over and over from some of the residents that this was meant for recreation. As I'm looking at this, I don't see that. Was it at one point supposed to be recreation according to the future land use?
Just open space, according to their master plan.
To their master plan?
To the Piper's Glen master plan. It
But
was
they
just
sold the
open
property.
space. They sold the property, yes, but it's
Then
still
that-
open space on the master plan.
That new purchaser has the right to develop the property according to the,
That's what they're requesting right now
right.
before the board.
Okay, and then I see from staff that there is a recommendation to approve with conditions of approval indicated in one of your exhibit. Can you go over that real quick?
Yep.
Nancy?
Morning. Nancy from County for the Zoning Division.
Briefly, just what is the condition of approval?
Okay.
And maybe I'll go to our attorney while you look for that information. If we were to reject this, we would need competent substantial evidence. Is that correct, attorney? And could you explain what that is?
Yes, so you would need competent substantial evidence. That's evidence on the record presented to you that shows that one of the criteria has not been met. And so that would be evidence of a nature of either factual testimony about the property itself or expert testimony concerning the compatibility or the other factors that are listed there.
Thank you. Do we have that information yet? Yeah, okay.
So there are 3 proposed conditions. The first one is on concurrency to make them connect to water and sewer. The other one is engineering, which is for to plat the property. And then Parks and Recs has another condition to provide, it's a check in to cash out the recreational requirement. Those are the 3 proposed conditions.
Thank you. And you agree with that?
We do.
We do. I want to commend you on the engagement that you did with the community ahead of time. I appreciate when developers do that because that way you're engaging and you're listening. I also understand that you could have done 12 units. You're actually reducing it down to 7. So I respect that you respect the neighbors. So it seems like you said the max buffer is about 93 feet.
The distance between the buildings will be 93.
93
So the
feet.
nearest building to us. The buffer is 8 plus there's another, we have 33 feet of yard area in between.
And you in that
We have a
buffer, you're
wall.
putting trees on a wall?
And a wall.
On a wall, okay. Thank you so much.
May I ask a question of Bonnie? When you're saying the distance between the buildings, you're talking about the houses and not any accessory structures, correct?
That's correct. Thank
Okay.
you, Wendy. Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, staff. Thank you, Nancy. And thank you, Bonnie. Quick question with regard to, so just for clarity, this is right now, and this is concurrent, both of these items are going concurrently. What's happening is you're taking 2.39 acres out of the PUD as it exists, right? That's
Correct.
currently used for open space. There's no restrictions on, and I know on page 7 of the staff report, it indicates the ordinances with regard to open space requirements. And maybe this is for staff, Nancy or Wendy. Is there, when this is removed, this portion, 2.39 acres is removed from the PUD, does the original PUD still maintain or meet the requirement for open space?
That is correct.
Okay. Bonnie, you talked about the buffers.
Yes.
And those, I would believe, are compatibility buffers because it's still residential, or is it anything?
Yeah, it's still residential, so they're not incompatibility. They're compatibility on the, and they're right-of-way buffers on Military and on Piper's Glen.
Let me correct that. That's
Sorry.
not correct. You have your right-of-way buffers along Piper's Glen and Military Trail, and then there's incompatibility buffers because it's adjacent to attached housing to detach. So it's a 10-foot buffer.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So the incompatibility buffer would be 10 feet?
Yes.
And the wall, the placement, I'm looking for the site plan. I'm in the staff report, but there it is. The wall, is it on either side of the buffer, or are the buffer, where is that?
So we will have to go through DRO, and during that process, we will seek staff's recommendation as to where they would suggest that we have it. We really don't have a problem either way.
Okay.
As it's proposed on their plan right now, it's 10 feet up from the property line, right along the property lines of each of the single-family lots. So all the landscaping would be on the exterior side based on what they have proposed right now.
Okay. So if you live in the property, you'll see the wall, but if you're on the outside of the property, you really won't see it.
You'll see the vegetation.
See the vegetation.
And then, yeah, the wall.
How tall will the wall be, Bonnie? 8 feet, 6 feet?
Yeah, 6.
Okay. All right. I don't have any further questions. I think that, do you have a site analysis, a site analysis or visual triangle of what it looks like, or you're not that far?
We aren't that far along now.
Okay.
We have a very conceptual rendering, but no, it really doesn't show that.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, just so I have a full understanding, it's right at 2.4 acres, did belong to the Piper's Glen PUD when it was created back in 1979. It was sold to your client, and so item 3 is just to delete that land area from Piper's Glen PUD. Is that correct?
That's
Correct.
Okay, so item 3 seems pretty straightforward, because if they sold it, then it probably should be deleted from the PUD. And they are the ones that sold it, right?
The
Okay.
HOA.
All right, so then for item 4, the request is to take that deleted piece of land and then to revert back to the previous future land use?
The land use wouldn't change. They're requesting to rezone it from residential transitional to residential single-family. The RT zoning districts are larger lots, would be larger lots than an RS district slightly, so.
Okay, so is the surrounding area, is this R3? Is that, did I see? R5? MR5? What are,
Correct. The areas directly adjacent to it are MR5.
okay. Okay, that answers my questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, last question. So this would bring the use into compliance with the land use, the underlying land use?
Well, the current PUD zoning district is already consistent with the MR5 land use, but changing it to the RS would also be consistent, so.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You've answered my questions, and I don't see any reason not to support this.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And this is for our staff. We are changing the zoning classification on this land, and that's what they have requested today.
Yes, that's part
Okay,
of.
so it's not consistent with what happened in 79. We want to zone it, we want to rezone it or reclassify it so that they can build housing on this lot that was previously open space.
That is a request, yes.
Okay. I want to commend you and your office. You've done a great job. I think that we just have one open-ended issue here, which is glaring, and that is that occurred on July 2nd, 2026 at the ZC hearing, and I know that was just so soon, but these issues have not been resolved, and I hesitate to vote for something that is a zoning reclassification that is not compatible with what Tuscany Bay wants. And I think it's something that can be taken care of. Ms. Maskell. And you and I spoke about this, because these things happen. It's a drainage issue, it's, second stories looking down. These issues can be resolved, but they have not been resolved yet. So, and I know that Mr. Berliner, he's also president of the association, but he's also with Cobra. So I've got a group that just needs a little more help from you. And I think that we may be completely consistent with what you want to do and what the people want to do. But until that is satisfied, and I think maybe this is just a little bit too soon, if we just had the zoning commission on July 2nd, I think it may be just a little bit too soon to make sure that this is all compatible. So that concerns me. I think that this is an issue that can be resolved, but without it being resolved today, I really can't go along with it until it is. But I think you've got good people here who want to resolve it with you. It's just, and I know that you've worked very hard on this, Wendy, and you have too, Ms. Maskell, and I appreciate that. But we need to make it consistent with everybody there. Otherwise, I know good walls make good neighbors, but maybe not a 6-foot wall, all right? So I think we just need to make it, we need a little more time. Thank you, and thank you for the work you've done.
Attorney, I have a few questions as far as compatibility is concerned.
Okay.
We've heard several things, the 2-story versus 1-story. We've heard attached versus detached. We've heard smaller lots versus larger lots. And a lot of concerns about being next to a neighborhood designed in a certain way. Those compatibility standards, can they be applied to this?
So staff, compatibility is one of the standards, correct?
Yes, compatibility is the standard, not only on the development order amendment to delete the land area, but on the rezoning, yes.
Commissioner Sachs, did you make a motion to deny this based on compatibility?
Yes, I did. And let me make it again. And should I do it for the 2? And I really think that we're really close, all right? It's just a matter of talking with each other. And if you want to, I don't know if we can do this or not. I'm maybe stepping out of line, but I've done that before. Can we just put this a little later today so that these things can be resolved in the, many cases are resolved in a hallway of a courtroom. And I don't know if this is asking too much. Let me ask staff. Could we permit the parties to discuss these issues and then maybe come back later? I think we're going to be here for a while.
Madam Mayor, if I may respond, we certainly don't mind postponing and having another meeting. We've had several, and I did speak with Mr. Berliner before the meeting as well. I think, though, that we can also agree to drop our height from the maximum 35 to 30 and offer that as a condition, because I did hear a new comment today regarding the height. But we've addressed drainage. We provided the wall because that's what they asked for. We have extensive buffers, but I think their big issue is that they don't want anything there. But I'm happy to go back again and meet with them and sit down and talk about it and see if we can be more collaborative. We have come up with a lot of options for them, but today I heard something a little different than I did at the ZC meeting, the Zoning Commission meeting, which was certain drainage infrastructure needed to be there, which we've agreed to. The height they wanted us to lower, and they wanted the wall, and I think they want a 6-foot wall. But if we can't get beyond the use, then we do have a problem. But your staff's reviewed it, your zoning commission's reviewed it. We had a unanimous vote by the zoning commission on what has been presented to you. But if you would prefer us to do it one more time, I'm happy to do that.
You're
you know
a
me,
star,
I like
Ms.
to
Maskell.
talk.
You're a professional, and I appreciate that. I'm going to leave it. Would you prefer to postpone it for an hour or two while you speak to the folks who are here today, or would you rather do it on another day? It's up to you, and up to staff.
If the community wants to meet with us and we come back at the back end of your agenda, we could do that. Or if the board would prefer us to come back at your next month's meeting, if there is one. I haven't looked at the calendar. We can do that as
Why
well,
don't- why don't
whatever the
we-
board prefers.
Commissioner Sacks, due to our schedule today and the amount of people here.
My
I don't
suggestion,
think they want to, because they would have
another
to go
day.
to the end of the agenda, and we have no idea to know what time that may or may not be. I do have two other lights, if you would like to hear what they have to
sure,
say.
absolutely, but let me just say this. You're a professional, and I appreciate that, and we have folks here who have been there for many, many years and voiced their concerns, and I know that you can get to a point where everybody's happy, and that's what I'm concerned. It's my district, and I want to make everybody happy, but you are a professional in this, and I appreciate it. So if we could, we'll listen to my colleagues, but my motion would be to allow you to postpone it to another date certain. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. My question centers on the idea that right now it's open space, and the proposal is to rezone it to residential single-family, correct?
Correct.
How likely, this is not a condition, so the height limitation would be 35 feet at residential single-family. And in this case, the concern has been because it's 2 stories. My concern here is even, Bonnie, if you were to negotiate 5 feet lower, the request is to not make it 2 stories. So the challenge is if the zoning code or the land development regulations allow for 35 feet and you go down to 30 feet, you still have the issue is the 2 stories, from what I understand. So I don't know if that resolves the issue, Bonnie. The question is for staff or for the developer and for the commissioner, the subject commissioner, is how do you, and I know there's conditions and a number of things that have been agreed to, and I do understand that this has gone to zoning commission and was unanimous. How do you get to a point where the residents will be satisfied? The challenge is what's allowed. It's being pulled out of the PUD, 2.39 acres, and it's now separate. It would be if this first portion were to pass, because it's been sold, it's a separate piece of land. You do have to replat it, I think you said earlier?
That's correct.
And once you replat it, it's outside of the PUD, it impacts what's allowed by, if the new zoning is approved, what's allowed by the new zoning to happen there. To me, it's a challenge because we do have a set of unified land development regulations that allow something that now we would subjectively come in and say, well, we don't want to allow it, although if we move forward on the rezoning, it's allowed. So I would like to see, on behalf of Commissioner Sacks, a way to resolve it, but I want to make sure that that resolution is feasible and procedurally works. And I do understand the art of negotiation, some of the things that you've already indicated, Bonnie, that have been negotiated. In a negotiation, everybody walks away with a little bit of a haircut. And I know Commissioner Flores indicated instead of 12 units, you're doing 7. I just want to make sure that everything is in line with what should be happening, because we want to make sure we're doing that for everybody or everyone who's kind of working and changing land uses or changing, not land uses, zoning. So
Commissioner
that's my
Powell,
concern.
would you like to second the postponement motion? If not, we'll move on. Vice Mayor Woodward.
I'll second it.
Okay. We
Until
have-
when? To the end of this meeting?
I think next meeting, next zoning meeting.
August 27th.
Yes. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Before I support the motion on the floor, I was wanting to know if we could identify the specific conditions that are expected to be resolved between now and the next meeting, because I wouldn't want this to turn into a number of other issues that haven't already been brought up. So could we limit it to anything that's been discussed on the record to today? And I guess with the previous zoning commission, if it was brought up then or today, but nothing beyond that scope.
Attorney Darren, is that allowed?
Well, her motion's on the floor, so, okay.
I mean, it's difficult to do that because you'll come back to the next meeting and each meeting has a life of its own, right?
No, I mean
So-
the negotiations that we're asking the applicant to have with the neighborhood.
I mean, if you can try to pin it down, I frankly have no idea what's being asked of the developer at
Well,
this point.
actually, that's
So-
my question. What is being asked of the developer to negotiate? What are we asking? Because I'm a little foggy on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. If I may, Madam Mayor.
You may.
This will be resolved, because you're professional, Mr. Berliner, and the head of the Tuscany Bay. This is going to happen, but it's going to happen with everybody's voice being heard. So I don't need to pin it down to drainage or trees or 6 foot, 8 foot. I know that y'all will resolve it. And before that date, contact us. Certainly contact me. I'll come out and look at that. Look at that lot. So this will be resolved, my colleagues, and I know that because I know the people here. So with that in mind, I would ask that we postpone it to give them all time to sit down and get it done, and then we'll see some nice development out there that's compatible to everybody. Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Thank you, and thank you, Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Bonnie, was Tuscany Bay ever approached to purchase this land?
I don't know. I just know that my client worked with the Master Association of Pipers Glen to go to contract, and they closed on the contract. And Pipers Glen was supportive of this use. That's all I know.
Pipers Glen is the seller.
That they're the seller.
Tuscany Bay is the abutting neighbor.
That's correct. And they
This
are,
is basically NIMBY. You have all, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it because no one else seems to want to say it. And this is 7 homes, they could put 12. You've gone from 35 to 30. You have put up a wall, as been asked. I don't know what else you can do if you go back and have a discussion. The drainage, you've met everything that zoning has asked for you to do. You've gotten approvals from the zoning commission, 7070. They didn't seem to have any questions. The concurrency was established with the water and the sewer. Engineering, the plating was established, and Parks and Recreation, the cash out was established and done. I'm honestly, I understand the district commissioner's point here, but you've been negotiating. I don't know what's left for you to negotiate. And if we continue this, again, I don't know what's left for you to negotiate. And this is Pipers Glen who's done this. This is their HOA that said, we'd like to get rid of this property. And if the underlying land use, if I'm not mistaken, was RT, is that correct? Or RS?
the current is RT PUD.
The zoning is RT with a special exception for PUD, and the underlying land use that establishes the density is MR5.
MR5, thank you. So again, they could put 12 units here.
Yes.
They're putting 7. They were asked to put in a wall. They've been asked to lower the height, which you agreed to just now. I'm not in favor of postponing this. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to piggyback off of what Commissioner Woodward said, I mean, that was my point, really, is negotiations have happened, and short of seeing what can be done, I mean, if we want to postpone, that's fine, but I just want clarity in terms of what will allow this to move forward, right? That's the challenge.
I think the challenge with that is that the neighbors are going to be the ones to negotiate what they would be okay with because of the compatibility issues that they've identified today.
And in that case, Madam Mayor, it's always going to be a problem because the neighbors, my challenge is the neighbors have not wrote the Unified Land Development Code. And unless we're doing a text amendment or we're rewriting the code, if they're not going to meet it, then we'll continue to push the can down the road. So that's my biggest challenge. Again, I'll support the district commissioner in a postponement, but there's no clarity. And I can feel from the board that they're not comfortable doing that because there's no clarity. So with the postponement, if they wanted to move it to later today to get clarity, I'd be good with that. Pushing it to another date, it's a challenge because as Commissioner Woodward, or Vice Mayor Woodward indicated, there's no clarity in terms of what the neighbors want, and they don't write the code. Staff write, staff doesn't, they can rewrite, but the code is there, and they met all of the criteria. Where do we go?
Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wanted to reiterate, I didn't feel like I got a clear answer on what we're asking for. So I wouldn't support postponing this because unless we are very, very, very specific on what we're asking the developer to do. And I haven't heard those specifics, and without those specifics, I wouldn't support this. Thank you.
Commissioner Flores.
I'd like to make a substitute motion to approve.
I have a motion by Commissioner Flores, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. I am going to recognize Commissioner Sacks before we vote.
No, I appreciate my colleagues, because I know we want a resolution. And Mr. Berliner is the president of that. He's also a member of COBRA. I think that we have two big community organizations, including COBRA, that wants a resolution. But let me ask you, the applicant, Ms. Mescal, would you like to have a little more time to resolve all these issues so that you don't have to face this if it's approved today?
I always prefer to not have issues, and we, obviously we do. The one part of this that I don't think is resolvable is that you heard people speak today that it should be open space. And if that is the conclusion that the board comes to, then then there will be nothing there. As to trying to make this more visually compatible, I'm sure we can figure some things out there. We could also do that during the DRO process prior to submitting for DRO. I mentioned to Mr. Berliner before the meeting that it doesn't end here. Either way, that we would be going back to him through the process to come, which includes platting, to keep them apprised of what's going on. I don't know if we could do a berm as well. That may be a way to lift up the vegetation so that anything on the second level is screened better. I don't know if we can do that because they also want us to have drainage infrastructure on our south side, which is what we agreed to do. So, the problem, is I'm not even clear what I can do to make
Let me
them
help
happy.
you out.
But
Mr. Berliner, come on up, please. So let's get this resolved today. Mr. Berliner, come on up, sir. Is there any, I think that Ms.
Commissioner
Mescal.
Sacks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wait, is
I
it
just want to
we
resolve
do
it.
have a motion and a second, so unless
Yes.
we're making a substitute motion, there is a motion on the floor to approve this.
Okay.
Or I should say substitute motion. So
Okay.
unless we're making one of those, let's handle.
Move along. All right. I just want to be sure that Mr. Berliner, you will, I respect Ms. Mescal, and I think that these issues can be resolved today so that we can take care of this today. And if there's any other issues that'll come up, as you said, is that okay with you, sir?
It's very interesting. We come up here as a community to talk to you folks. And you cut our time from 3 to 1 minute. We had a
Sir, I just
total
want
of
to ask
5
you if there's
minutes.
any other
We're trying-
issues.
We'd like to work with the developer. I heard
good.
all of you folks, and I understand where you're at.
Okay.
Our position was, we don't think a zone change should be required at this point in time. You folks obviously feel differently, and you have the power to make that change. You're asking us to sit down and work with these folks? We've tried. We were willing to continue to try and work with them. Are you going to ask me to do it within an hour? I think that's unreasonable. I think if you want somebody to come back, as Commissioner Powell said, to work out something reasonable, then give us some reasonable time to do something. Don't ask us to sit down and say in 10 minutes, you got a plan. I don't
We
think that's
won't.
fair
Thank
at
you.
all.
Thank you so much, sir. Madam Mayor, I stand by my motion to have this postponed to a date certain in August to allow both sides to resolve this so that we have a clear-cut application that is consistent with the HOAs, who's also represented by Cobra, as well as by the applicant. So I
Commissioner-
stand by my motion. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So the motion on the floor, are you making a substitute, or you're, because the motion on the floor is to approve, and we have a motion and a second.
Yes, I think I had a motion with a second to postpone it to a date certain.
But we have a substitute motion. So
That's
that one
correct.
is not being voted on right now. But clerk, if you would do a roll call, please. This is a motion to approve.
I think that's AT&T.
I do want to clarify my substitute motion. It is with a height restriction of 5 feet, so it would be with a maximum height of 30 feet.
And the second, you're good with that? Yes. Thank you.
Could I just reiterate that there will be continued working with the community through the DRO process?
Yes,
Thank you.
of course.
Okay, clerk.
Commissioner Flores? Yes. Commissioner Marino? Yes. Commissioner Powell?
Yes.
Commissioner Sacks?
No.
Commissioner Weiss?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woodward?
Yes.
Mayor Baxter?
No.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is 5-2, 2 opposed.
Yes. Please see that it passes.
I would also like to make a motion to approve item 4.
I have a motion. A second by Commissioner Flores, a second by Vice Mayor Woodward. Another roll call vote, please, clerk. And did we already take the cards? We took them both together, correct? And Wendy, did you need to say something?
Just to clarify, the motion for Palm Cove, which is number 4, is the rezoning with the conditional overlay zone. You're proposing to include a maximum height of 30 feet.
Yes.
Okay.
Please. We have a motion and a second. Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Flores? Commissioner Marino? Yes. Commissioner Powell?
Yes.
Commissioner Sacks?
Yes, no. Sorry.
Commissioner Weiss?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woodward?
Yes.
Mayor Baxter?
No.
That one is also 5-2.
Thank you, ma'am. We will move on to Ag Reserve, number 9. And just a reminder, once we start an item, we will no longer be taking comment cards.
Mayor, we have a few cards that are also downstairs. You want to call them while we do the?
Yes, please.
Okay. So in the first floor, we have Keely Harborland. If you can please make your way up to the chambers. Mike Atkinson, Benjamin Morris, and Neil Ambrosio. If you can make your way up to the chambers, we appreciate it. Once again, Neil Ambrosio, Benjamin Morris, Mike Atkinson, and Keely Haverland.
Pat, could you make sure that security is aware they're coming up?
Yeah, go check.
Thank you.
Sat in the wrong chair.
This item doesn't require disclosures, and there's no applicant, so staff, if you would please proceed.
Commissioner Sacks, go ahead.
She can hear you.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Whitney Carroll. I'm the Executive Director for the Planning, Zoning, and Building Department. And with me at the table, I have Jeff Gagnon with the Interim Planning Director, Brian Davis, and Susan Gash from the Planning Division as well. And of course, you know Wendy and Frank from the County Attorney's Office. Today's presentation is a follow-up from the March 2026 discussion, where we met with you and discussed whether there should be additional commercial or mixed-use opportunities within the Ag Reserve. At that meeting, we reviewed the existing policy framework, which included the commercial cap, the location criteria, traffic policy, and preservation requirements. The board then directed us to engage with the community, gather additional data, and return with findings and potential next steps. Today's presentation is the result of that direction. I'll begin by summarizing what we have learned since March. We have completed every request that the board had asked for, even expanding our outreach further. We conducted a community survey, participated in the Agricultural Reserve Bus Tour, as hosted by Commissioner Sachs, held 2 public meetings, and researched commercial development trends, including approved development, built square footage, vacancy rates, and remaining development potential. Together, this information gave us both community input and objective market data to evaluate the issue. From that work, several consistent themes emerged. The community wants thoughtful planning, not simply more commercial development. While options differed on specific issues, 4 consistent themes emerged. First, many residents believe that current policies no longer fully reflect today's community needs. However, there is no consensus on how those policies should change. Some residents support limited development, limited neighborhood serving commercial uses, such as a variety in grocery stores, pharmacies, restaurants, those types of things, while others believe that existing commercial areas should be better utilized before allowing additional development. We also heard from the farming community about the need for additional farm worker housing opportunities. Staff is already working with the Cooperative Extension Office and with the agricultural stakeholders, and we anticipate returning later this year with more information on that effort. Second theme focused on infrastructure and growth management. Residents consistently expressed concerns regarding traffic, school capacity, utilities, emergency services, and whether the existing infrastructure could support additional development. Third, there was limited support for additional development overall. The consensus was that if an additional large-scale recreational option was offered, that the preference would be for arts and cultural arts or entertainment venues, not in the heart of the Ag Reserve, but along State Road 7. There was also strong opposition to another mixed-use development within the reserve. Finally, preservation remains a priority. The majority of participants emphasized protecting farmland, agriculture, and open space, and expressed concerns about expanding non-agricultural uses within the preserve areas. Overall, the public message was clear. Prioritize growth management, improve services within existing developed areas where possible, and continue protecting agriculture and preservation lands. We also evaluated the commercial cap while researching the requested data. Today, approximately 750,000 square feet of commercial space has been built within the Ag Reserve, and only 4% is vacant per our research using CoStar. More importantly, our research found that approximately 372,000 square feet of approved, vested, or entitled commercial development remains unbuilt. In other words, additional commercial development can still occur under today's existing approvals without changing the commercial cap. Industrial development, which also includes commerce, is still being absorbed by the market. We reviewed all of the industrial development within the reserve. Approximately 2 million square feet is currently approved, and about 1.57 million square feet is either built or under construction. Based on discussions with industry representatives, the remaining approved space is expected to be absorbed to healthy vacancy rates within the next 4 to 5 years. Over the past 25 years, the Ag Reserve has changed considerably. Some of the policies adopted have worked well, while others may benefit from being revisited as community needs have evolved. Throughout the process, the board has asked us to listen to the community. We have done that. We have gathered public input, we've analyzed the market data, and we've reviewed the existing framework. Now, based on everything that we have heard and we have seen, we believe this discussion is broader than just the commercial cap alone. The question before you all today is whether you would like to continue evaluating requests under the existing comprehensive planning policies, consider revisiting or revising elements of the current framework, or undertake a broader planning effort, such as a master plan update, or an overlay, a neighborhood plan, or some similar planning process to evaluate where the ag reserve needs to go to sustain the next 25 years. This can be done at the community level, or as previously discussed, you could direct us to engage with a consultant.
Excuse me, Whitney. Commissioner Weiss, did you have a question before she ends? Your light's on. Okay, thank you. Please proceed, Whitney.
Oh, well, thank you. It's actually good timing because I've concluded our presentation, and now we'd like to open it up for discussion and questions or any further direction that you'd like to give us.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Well, that was timing. So just understand, a third of the commercial property or commercial use has been entitled but not built.
Correct.
Do people get to sit on entitlements for forever?
They do have, yes, there are opportunities where they get to, and most of these have come through land use amendments or vesting or some sort of site plan approval, that they still have time extensions or those types of things. So yes, everything that we identified it can stay, and there might be some that have time extensions that will expire, but most of it is land use amendments.
So if the land's already been entitled for these commercial uses, yet they're not building them out, and one of the issues that the residents, a large number of the residents, are that they don't have the services they need, but it seems like it's a mismatch of with the entitlements. It's not a matter of not having enough square footage. It's just where they're at, or they're not being utilized. And I think that's really if I were to make, my recommendation is to figure out how do you either get them built or get them back. So, I mean, that land's already been taken off the books, if you will. The set aside for the preservation has already been done. I mean, so it's already been accounted for, but it's not serving the community. And we just need to figure out how to do that.
And I think that is, if we're honest, is what is complicated about the commercial cap as it stands today, is it caps it at 1,015,000 square feet.
You haven't hit the cap. You're a third of the way away from, you've only built 2/3 of it.
Based on what's not built, but it's been calculated based on what is built and entitled.
I understand, but that's where I'm going back to is you've got these entitlements that are not being utilized, and so it's not serving the community, which they're feeling the pressure of, and if people want to get property entitled and not build it, it's just not serving, and especially out there because of the very strict limits, especially on commercial. Those are my comments, and so if you bring something back, I'd like to see that, because I don't see the need to do additional land when you haven't already done something already that you already have permission to do.
And if I may, that's really what we identified, is that there's a lot of redevelopment opportunities potentially on existing lands that are already entitled. That would take an effort on staff's part to possibly engage with the community and these property owners to see if there's other opportunities or incentives to encourage them to either build that square footage, redevelop those shopping centers, or where that square footage rests. So that would be another exercise for us to have to engage with them, because once it's entitled, as you know, we can't unentitle it, but there might be a market for potentially bartering it somehow. I'm not sure. They're transferring it to other properties or transferring it somehow. But as I was saying, that's what's made it difficult, that no additional commercial can come in because they are reserving all of that square footage at this point.
Thank you, Whitney. And at this time, we're going to take comments from the public.
Okay.
All right, we have two podiums. Please come forward, line up. You'll have 1 minute to speak. I have Neil Ambrosio, Benjamin Morris, Mike Atchison, Keely Haverland, Debbie Go ahead, sir.
Good morning, Neil Ambrosio, Canyon Lakes Homeowners Association. I think one thing those of us who went on the bus tour learned is that if you really listened, you got different perspective from the different stakeholders in the ag. I talked to ornamental growers, I talked to food producers, equestrian, and it was apparent to me, and I think the survey kind of shows it, everybody's in a lot of different areas. You know, the food producers have housing concerns for their employees because they're bussing them in from Belle Glade. The ornamental producers are concerned about encroachment on their land. I think item 3 is the best thing on there. I think you have staff that can do it. I don't think you need an outside consultant. And I think Cobra and the communities and Bark and the growers and everybody can sit in a room and come up with something. Maybe it takes a week, but I think we could probably do a good job of getting to where we need to go. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, everyone. Benjamin Morris here on behalf of our local chapter of the Florida Nursery Growers and Landscaping Association. In regards to the Ag Reserve, I'm a third-generation legacy grower. My brother and I have taken over a nursery that our grandparents started, and that sentiment is shared with a lot of the growers in the Ag Reserve as well. Moving forward, we're hoping that there will be a revisitation of the planning. It's been touched on many times. A lot of piecemealing approvals of different things in different areas where I think simply put the planning could have been better from a standpoint of both the county and the developers. We're hoping that we can continue to work with the county, the developers, continue looking forward, continuing when we're looking forward, a standpoint of flexibility as well when it comes to the land uses, and hoping that we can respect the fact that over all this time, the farmers have been flexible, and we can hope to get that flexibility in return.
Thank you so much. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Keely Haverland. I'm the state representative for the Florida Nursery Grower and Landscape Association. We've been talking about growers in the Ag Reserve for about 10 years now and their landscape component, which is no more. I just want to bring back that those code revisions have caused a huge loss to the nursery growers. We're down about 40% of nurseries since I checked a couple years ago. Giving the nursery growers that commercial component to be able to install their plants is going to be critical for their survival in the future, just as a farm needs a packing house, which is a commercial component to their operation. In order to sustain nurseries in Palm Beach County, these guys are going to need to install their plants. They cannot survive off of selling $3 and $5 plants. So I hope that you will revisit those code changes that were made in 2018, 2019. Greg, I think you were there. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor. My name is Mike Atchison. I'm a grower in the Ag Reserve. I came up here today just to hope that we do look at number 3 with a little bit of number 4 mixed in, and we think about flexibility for the growers that have been here this entire time. There was promises made 25 years ago, and a lot of families built their lives based on those promises, and those promises have been broken a little bit at a time. And again, I just hope that the commission can look at flexibility going forward for the growers. Ag Reserve housing is something that would be huge. The landscape co-op is something that would be great for nurseries. I just think we need to start rewarding agriculture versus regulating it. And if we're successful, I know that years from now, it will look back and know that we were successful because we supported the people that preserve this land, not just agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. Please
Hi,
state your
Debbie
name.
Murphy with Cobra. First, I'd like to thank Commissioner Sachs for organizing the tour and the public meetings. During those meetings, Cobra has voiced opinions about the survey that was, of course, well-intended, but had some issues. The fact that there was none of the above in any of the questions really, I think, impacts the survey results and doesn't really show what it is people wanted to say. Although a lot of the results we totally agree with. So, but that was a problem for us. Throughout the process, Cobra's been listening. We support the survey results saying no new mixed-use development in the Ag Reserve. We are very concerned about commerce and that designation. We believe that there should be a cap on commerce. We also are concerned about industrial sneaking in as commerce, being disguised. And safety, traffic safety is a major issue. We know that you understand that, but the lack of concurrency has allowed development to flourish, and traffic has flourished with it. So we would appreciate if you'd look into that as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank
A
you. I
minute
have
is
Jim
tough.
Knight, Linda Weber, Joseph O'Donnell, and Matthew Pinchik. Wonder if I pronounced that right.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. My name is Linda Weber. I'm from Valencia Reserve. I do want to thank you all for the bus tour. I am disappointed that only 3 commissioners came to the June 2nd and June 12th meetings at the library, where you could have listened to the constituency and heard their responses, which were basically no more. To the survey, I do want to let you know, I have a doctorate in administration. Your survey was replete with survey bias, research bias, including framing effect and confirmation bias. You should have used balanced scales and run a pretest. Regardless of the survey flaws, respondents made their voices clear. Do not change the commercial cap. Please pay attention to the summary that you put up here. It's very important to the people that live in the Ag Reserve. Property owners who purchased property on West Boynton Beach Boulevard knew there were no developmental rights when they bought them. Please do not change the land cap use.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor Baxter. Jim Knight, 740 Havana Drive, Boca Raton, Florida. Born and raised here, been coming up here since I'm 16. I'm 61 now, so it's been quite a while. But anyway, what I wanted to get to is Commissioner Weiss hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of projects that are approved right now where there's extra leftover densities. I've sold a number of the properties out here over the years, and I can name on it, 2 hands exactly how many projects are out there and how much additional density and so forth they have out there. The question is, how do you release those, right? Well, we released them when the project was built at Acme Dairy and Boynton Beach Boulevard. When there was extra densities there, it traveled down south to Atlantic Avenue for an office building. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that if you look at the 2026 snapshot, which I brought around many, many times, it has been a very successful use of the Ag Reserve in getting things done. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Joe O'Donnell, our family owns Irish Acres on Starkey Road. You'll be all relieved to know my daughter's last words to me sitting over here was, "Be quick." It's important to remember, why was the Ag Reserve created? I just ask you to always keep that in your mind. There was a very sound reason for that. I also ask you to keep in mind protecting the current landowners' rights. Farmers that want to stay in agriculture, residents that moved into the Ag Reserve because of the open space. I would plead that when you make zoning and planning rules, follow them. There's just too many exceptions taken, which has caused a large part of the disruption that's going on. And protect the next generation. There's a lot of farms currently in business. There's been a big sorting out, but now they remain that want to stay in business with the next generation. One last comment, and I'll sit down. There's already, commerce wasn't discussed very much. That's a problem. There's, in just storage space, warehousing space, 1.5 million square feet have already been approved and under construction or completed in the last 3 years. 1.5 million square feet in the Ag Reserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Please state your name for the record.
Good morning, Matthew Pinchik. I could not have said it any better than Joe, and I watched a lot of that development, and most of it empty, particularly on Happy Hollow Road. My name is Matt Pinchik. I'm the owner of Jack Curl Stables, located at 14368 Smith Sunday Road in Delray. Noteworthy that I'm a medic of 41 years of service, including decades of volunteer service, entitled Assistant Chief in the New York City Fire Department, honorary, and a survivor of the World Trade Center. More importantly, we have put a significant amount of my family's life savings to purchase our family's farm, counting on the commitment as voted to protect the Florida ag over 25 years ago. Our farm is dedicated to the equestrian community and has most importantly, the trails for riders that count on riding their horses in a safe environment. The trucks and added traffic has really been a tough impact, and we actually had someone injured. Putting that aside for a second, it is additionally noteworthy that we serve families with children of special needs, developmental challenges. Please protect the Florida ag. Thank you for your support, and to everyone who's here today. I wish I had a few more seconds. To all of you, thank you.
Thank you so much. Is that the last card? Thank you. Dagmeyer? No cards?
Maybe we could,
Give us 1 sec, we'll look through real quick.
We'll have them fill out another card. Maybe they got misplaced. We'll have them fill out another card if that's okay, if you want to.
Okay, if you would, I'm going to let you speak first if you promise to fill out a card afterwards.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Real quick, Commissioner Weiss, thank you so much for bringing to the forefront, there is square footage out there that can be billed as commercial. People complain we don't have any good restaurants. Well, if you guys spent more money, the good restaurants would find a way to get out there. We already have a bowling alley. We already have lots of movie screens, movie theaters. I had made a list that was 5 pages long of what's already on Boynton and Lyons and Atlantic and Lyons. We don't need any more. We just need to use what's already there. Please keep location criteria in place. Keep commercial cap in place, and let's talk about putting a cap on commerce real quick. And what Mr. Atchison said, I loved it. It's we need to reward agriculture, not regulate it. Let's see what we can do to make them more successful. Thank you. Ooh, gold star.
Good morning,
Great timing.
Mayor Baxter, the Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. Lori Vinicor. I live in the Agricultural Reserve. I'm a farmer. I raise horses and exotic fruits. I'm also president of the Alliance of Delray Residential Associations. I live in Tierra Del Rey. As you consider changes to this Agricultural Reserve future land use, please consider the Alliance's recommendation. Agritourism might be to save the Ag Reserve, and I'm just submitting many of the surveys that we had taken of our residents at our Alliance meetings. And please consider that. Further addressing the CMR designation, please maintain light industrial commerce north of Rio Grande Avenue. Tierra Del Rey is a legacy farming community. It's designated in the Ag Reserve Master Plan as existing. Actually, Tierra Del Rey is celebrating its 50th year anniversary. The entire corridor south of Rio Grande Avenue is developed into residential corridor. Tierra Del Rey's representative is here, Attorney Clifford Hertz, if you have any questions. The Alliance is looking forward to working with staff regarding this.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I did fill out a card. David Schulson, Cobra Delegate from Valencia Reserve. Just real quick, these Valencia Reserve residents want to keep the commercial cap and put a cap on commerce, but I just want to quickly point out, I think, 2 elephants in this room. In the next 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, you're going to get recommendations on the countywide master transportation plan. In 111 days, everyone's going to be voting on the property tax amendment. So I agree, 3 and 4 should be grounds for discussion in the months to come, and then let's see what the impact is going to be, because transportation, I went to a public summit, Commissioner Woodward was there last week with Commissioner Powell, not too many others were there, but there are going to be recommendations made. Boynton Beach, Lyons are high-need corridor roads. Staff is going to have to explore the cost of these recommendations. There could be an eventual vote in the years to come to deal with these major transportation issues. So I think much discussion needs to be had and to be revisited at the end of this year or next year. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That will be it for cards. Did they fill cards out? Okay. And I'm sure we will come across them within these piles. They're not there. Either way, we'll have the cards for the record. Briefly, because I didn't announce this earlier, we are going to break from 12 to 1, just so that everyone knows. We're going to try to get through this. Commissioner Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Got lots of other items on our agenda. Should we move something up before we start Calvary? And then, because I hate to start and then take lunch and then come back. So just a question, and I will go with whatever the board wants to do.
So I was asked, and I had forgotten, but because of everything, I was asked actually to move, because I believe Florida Department of Transportation, to move County Road 880. So if we get through this, we could try to get through that. And then if you are here for Calvary Chapel, if you would like to not sit here through everything and just come back at 1, I promise we will not start it before 1. But please, if on the ag reserve topic, getting back to that, or do you want to do the motion, Commissioner, to move 880 up?
Would that be okay, Attorney? Since I know we've already approved the agenda as amended, can we amend it again?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to move State Road 880 up before we take any other, finish this item up and then move up State Road 880.
I have a motion and a second. The second is, first is Commissioner Marino, second is Commissioner Flores. All in favor? Any opposed? Please say that the motion carries 7-0. Finishing up Ag Reserve, I'm going to ask my commissioners if this is possible, if we can go 1 through 4 and get your opinion. Would you like to maintain current policy, revise or eliminate commercial cap, work with a consultant, what your thoughts are on these? And I am going to start from right to left. If everyone could just please try to keep the noise down. And then we'll start with Commissioner Marino. Please,
I am
your thoughts.
happy with 3 and 4. It seems that the Ag Reserve is something that we are always discussing. I know that the master plan as a total had never been approved, but pieces of the master plan have been approved. I think it would behoove us to work with the stakeholders and really come up with a way to finally say yes or no to what's going on in the Ag Reserve. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Powell.
Madam Mayor, it appears that if you do number 3, which is to work with the consultant / community stakeholders to develop a new master plan, at some point you would still have to return with at least, if not additional information, which you should get from number 3, you have to return with a recommendation. So it would be my thought process to do number 3 with the caveat that if you do number 3, it almost requires number 4. So I'm with 3 and 4.
And to clarify, with the community, correct?
Yes.
Not engaging with the consultant?
With the community.
Okay.
But when you engage with the community, wouldn't there be maybe not? I was going to say, we got staff who's really good staff can serve in that capacity. So engage with the community and stakeholders to develop a new master plan.
We do, and I think it would just to set an expectation, it just would take a little longer working with staff. So just want to set that. Okay.
Understood.
Thank you.
Whitney, with that being said, though, realistically knowing what the staff workloads are, maybe giving the board a time frame of how long, 6 months, a year, would it take, and if necessary.
We could probably come back with that information once we do some initial conversations with the stakeholders and gauge it. My initial guess was 18 months that it would likely take before we got something back in front of you.
And briefly on that note, Commissioner Powell, Ms. Vinacore left us a bunch of survey results of the stakeholders and residents in that area, I think it would be great if we can include those.
Okay, we'll take those.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think with the surveys, making sure, there was a lady who indicated that she had the doctorate, and balancing the surveys, I mean, just make sure the surveys are,
Accurate?
not accurate, but are not, surveys are tricky. They can be drafted to lean in a certain direction. The questions can be slanted. Just want to make sure and I'm not saying they are, Lord. We want to make sure the survey is balanced and is telling us what we're trying to find out.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with both of my colleagues so far on doing 3, and then of course we'd have to do 4. My only question is, since you're talking about staff time for 18 months, could we, just so that we know, could we potentially get the cost of what a consultant would cost? Because if we're using staff for 18 months, that's a year, and that's a cost. I'm just wondering, as a consultant, would it be more cost effective if we had someone that we could hire to do this, or is staff time the best to do? Is there a way to give us that number?
There is, and it honestly depends on the scope of what we want to accomplish. We had come back, I think it was last year, we talked about hiring a consultant, and we had rough estimates of 300 to 500,000. At a cap of 500,000, 300 being the low end. So that
And what would
potentially
the
could be done.
equivalent of staff time for a year and a half be?
I'd have to do that calculation, because I'm sure we'd have to do some engagement with the community and in addition to their current workload. So we'd have to come back to you with that.
Okay, I think it'd be helpful for us to know how much a year and a half of staff time versus a consultant, just so we can make the best decision on this.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not in favor of changing the commercial cap. I do want to work with the community and stakeholders to develop a new master plan, but absolutely do not want to hire a consultant. I think they water it down. And I think even our staff working with the largest stakeholders here continuously know better, and with the district commissioner, what the residents and stakeholders don't want. And I think bringing in outside people is not only expensive, I don't think we'll get the best results.
Okay.
Also, in returning, a couple things I would like to, I did like what was said, and even if we could get updated numbers, we do need to support growers of all sorts and have some of those flexibilities in this area, and take another look at those, and potential accessory, like a packing house is an accessory to farming. We need to look at supporting accessory uses to these organizations if we're going to truly want to support them. You said it earlier, Whitney, you said something about incentivizing already entitled land to be completed because there's all those square footage that's already been entitled. And to your point, we can't take away entitlements, but if there are ways to bring them back to the table to want to get them to build something that fits what the community would like to have, I would be in favor of incentivizing that. And I think, yeah, that is it. Thank you. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So I guess for right now, we have to maintain the current policy. About eliminating or revising the commercial cap, I don't want to cross that subject at this point in time. Regarding a master plan, I think a master plan they're always good because they kind of give you a path to work from. However, what happens in our community is that this body gets reelected every 8 years, and then you have new leadership, new vision, and things change. So it's only as good as maybe 3 or 4 years, because the idea for what should happen out there keeps evolving. And what I have seen out in that part of the county is that you have newer people, newer generations moving in who want things to do, that want a close-by place to eat, gas station, and so on. So I think as time goes on, that master plan will eventually change again. Should we work on something? Absolutely. But I think that is going to continue to evolve. I think Commissioner Weiss made a great point about what has been allocated versus what has been built. We have to figure that out. That is an issue. We heard from Mr. Knight that is a real issue. So maybe do we continue to give permission, and if they don't have a CO, then, a permit, then they're out of luck if they don't build it within time? I think that will put a little pressure on to get them built. I don't know what that mechanism is, but I think Commissioner Wise, made a great point. I also share Mayor Baxter's points regarding the supporting the farmers. I mean, this is farmland out there. They should have a place to conduct their business, because it's not just growing it from the ground. Then you have to move it somewhere or sell it or do what you have to do. So we have to do that. And number 4, I mean, it seems like we're doing this every 6 months. So keep bringing it. Let's keep having the conversation. And I'm pretty sure our district commissioner is going to have a lot more to say. So thank you.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Oh, right. So, yeah, obviously today we will continue to support the current policy. I do not support revising or eliminating the commercial cap, but I do think we absolutely need to find a way to recapture the commercial entitlements that have been granted and put them to work. I need to clarify, there was never an adopted master plan?
Correct.
Okay, so.
Some of the elements.
So it's not a new master plan. It would be the first master plan if ever it's adopted.
If we're adopted, correct.
Okay, I just want to clarify that. I'm happy to do that. I agree with the mayor. I don't think we need to hire a consultant. I think staff, you guys, I mean, all you do, or a portion of your staff, all they do is work on the Ag Reserve. And so
Feels that way.
they know this backwards and forwards probably better than anybody. And so, if you have to hire a consultant for some of the other work, that might be but in terms of this, I think our staff is most knowledgeable on it. And obviously, number 4, once you do the work, of course, it needs to come back. So, but I appreciate it. You guys always do a good job. As it relates to the survey, I too had heard people saying they wanted the option of saying do nothing, and that was not an option for them other than to put it in a comment. And so in terms of the methodology, if you ever do any more surveys, it probably is worthwhile. Maybe you can engage somebody from one of our local colleges or universities just to look at the instrument itself and ensure that it is at least close to whatever the standards are for creating these kinds of things.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor, and thank you for allowing those folks who are here for the Ag Reserve to come here at this time. I want to thank my colleagues, especially someone to my right who said he had never been there before, never seen it, but he would love to have a bus tour. So because of that, we did the bus tour. It wasn't my original idea, but I think it was a great idea. I won't mention any names, but it was a great idea because it gave everybody an opportunity to see what is happening in this 22,000-acre land that has been set aside as something and a place very, very important for agriculture. I don't want to go into the reasons why it's important for agriculture, but if you need to know, just ask Lori Vinegar. She'll give you the whole history of the soil. And I want to thank my colleagues also, especially Commissioner Powell. I think that's a great idea with the survey. Surveys they're like polls you do before campaigns, It could read one way, could read the other way. And I know there have been a lot of issues with that as well. And I want to thank the staff. You did an amazing job on this for the meetings, for coming along with us to Sunshine Meadows and the warehouses and everything else that we saw along the way. You were awesome on that and very, very good. And I think that Cobra was right there with us. They were with us on this tour. We had a lot of fun. And actually, as we looked out the windows, we saw things we didn't know were there. And there they were, big warehouse out there. And I want to thank all of you very much, for Cobra for being there, and for the Alliance for putting on a special meeting just for this. And I'm not going to be too long because I know I'm between us and lunch, so I'll speak quickly. But this is an important issue because this is the only area in the southeastern United States that has this kind of soil. It's not a kind of soil that you need to cement over. It's a kind of soil you need to use for growth, for vegetables, for specialized fruits and vegetables. In fact, every Chinese restaurant in this county, the fruits and vegetables come from the Ag Reserve. So this is something that is very important to all of us here in the county, but it is especially important for agriculture in our state. And that's what we're looking at. So when we look at consultants, I agree with my colleagues. We don't need to hire anybody. We have somebody in the audience, I didn't discuss it with her, but we have former County Commissioner Karen Marcus, who was part of the creation of all of this and the rules and regulations. We need to, and I apologize, Mark, I didn't ask you beforehand, but I saw you. You would be an awesome advisor and consultant for us as we move forward on this. Also, one of our own PB&Z staffers, Lisa Amara, who is part of the rules and regulations for the Ag Reserve. And Lisa is still with us. She's in the Cooperative Extension Service, so she's not very far away. And Lisa did, with our Channel 20, interviewed all the farmers here. They're on video. I don't think there's any advertisements on it.
Commissioner Sachs, would you like this to go before the Ag Enhancement Council before coming back to us?
Would I like to what? To go
Send
to
this before the Ag Enhancement Council before coming back to us to get their
Oh,
recommendations.
I absolutely think that they should definitely be part of the consultant group that would give us advice. Thank you so much for that. Because they know this. They know this. They know this better than I do, and better than anybody. And I think that those like former Commissioner Marcus knows how to do this. So with that in mind, I would definitely like to see in the farm worker housing that they all mentioned, we have we researched this. There's a grant from the federal government so we can work on farm worker housing for our farmers and also for workers at our equestrian areas, the groom quarters, that we can get federal funding for to take care of those folks, because I know that equestrian is a very much a big part of this. So at this point, let me just say this to wrap it up. On our commercial cap, and I hope I am correct on this, but I think that we had 1.15 million square feet of development. We only have 10,000 square feet left on a commercial cap for our commercial cap for commerce. We definitely need to take a look at that because like Peril Farms, they farm it and they grow it and they package it and they truck it out. And that's what we need, is we need that kind of idea that farmers need that commercial there. So I also like to mention something that I spoke with Paul about here in the staff yesterday, and that was how many outstanding applications we have. We have 7 outstanding applications right now. I think that we need to review that, maybe put a freeze on this, because I don't like to say that we're going to have a consultant, we're going to work on this, right? I always say Miss Boss, right? And this way, we can, out of fairness for those applications, can we put a freeze or a pause on that until we get this settled? Because I don't want to have 2 sets of rules for those who have an application in now and those who will be subject to the new rules. And is that okay?
I believe that those that are already in process would have to continue. I'm going to defer to Darren.
I mean, we'll have, let's discuss this with staff. Let's the county attorney's office discuss it with staff.
And I like to do
get
this
back to you.
transparent, because if, I mean, we have applicants right now that are going under a different set of rules, and I think that this is something, and I discussed it yesterday, and you were very timely in giving me the names or the applicants. So I think that we've done this before. We've put a pause or a freeze or whatever you call it on applications until we get a set of rules that we all agree on. And I think that that would just be fair. And if there's an issue with that, Mr. Attorney, you can bring it back to us at a later date after you review it and research it,
So
okay?
you
'Cause I
do
brought
want me
it
to
up.
review it?
Pardon me?
You do want me to review it then?
Well, absolutely. You're an
Okay,
attorney. That's what
very
we
good.
do. We review, we research, and we charge, So
Well,
definitely
I
take a
don't
look. I
charge
know
you.
you don't charge, but this is something that we need to, and we discussed it at some length with the staff, and they came back with the 7. I appreciate that. So to wrap it all up,
Commissioner Saxon, lastly, because we have mentioned packing houses, but again, with the loss of 40% of our nurseries, let's make sure we try to find that accessory use for these landscapers so we don't lose even more.
And to clarify, packing houses are generally exempt from the commercial cap. Those are agricultural uses. so
But we're
they would
trying
be
to
exempt.
support, right, all our growers.
Right.
Thank you.
and it's a good thing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a good thing. Thank you for bringing that up, Mayor. So with that, I totally agree with my colleagues that 3, definitely, we have consultants in our own lifetime here, in our own, I know it was Bert Aronson that started this, but I didn't find any of his papers in my desk. Maybe a good thing, I don't know. But I think that we have our people right here. We can use the people that we have, Ms. Amara and former county commissioners. And I think that with that, number 3 is excellent. A master plan is what we need also, because we have to look at this commercial cap. We don't have many square feet left on that commercial cap. We have to make sure that it's done with the right ways to increase and promote and enhance agriculture and equestrian uses. So with that, I want to thank everybody, thank my colleagues, and especially thank everybody in the room who is here and who care. Our farmers here in the back of the room, thank you so much for all you do, and we want to do everything we can to continue farming, legacy farmers. I see you all. Thank you so much for being here. And with that, I close.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you for that. Whitney, quick question. I heard one of the growers get up earlier and say that they could not sell installation services. Is that a problem? I mean, if they're a nursery,
No.
why
If
can't
they have a nursery, then they can have equipment that they can then install that material with. I think there's a fine line between using your own product, installing your own products, and then potentially if there's landscape services components to it, that might be the other piece of it.
Okay, that's what they were talking about. All right, thank you for that.
Is staff clear on direction?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to County Road 880 discussion.
If I may, Mayor, would staff bring that back to us, at least what your direction is, so that we can review it as 7 of us?
I believe we'll be able to come back in August with just an update on those questions that you had. As far as meeting with our staff and things like that is coming up with a plan. We'll have to come up with a plan, and we'll give you an update in August at the 27th.
Excellent. And if you could give us a written form of that before that date, so that we're all totally informed on it.
Commissioner Sacks.
Thank you.
August is getting kind of full. If it had to come back in September, would that be terrible?
No, not a problem. I think the
Okay.
most important thing, Mayor, is that they come back with a written plan so that we can discuss it with staff.
Thank you.
Especially with the applicants that are pending.
I want to address the applicants in process, and then we'll likely come up with a plan after that.
Excellent.
Perfect. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They drove all the way down from Orlando. We'll give them 5 minutes. Does anyone need a presentation? I'm going to pass the gavel for this one because I have been looking forward to this for a very long time. Commissioner, Vice Mayor Woodward, I would like to make the motion to approve the agenda item for County Road 880.
Do we have a second? Commissioner Powell seconds Mayor Baxter's motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a comment by Commissioner Flores. Sorry, I can't see the light.
So my comment is more of a question for FDOT regarding the funding for some of this. I understand there's already some funding that has been allocated to this project?
Correct.
Okay. How are we going to treat that in regards to the TIP program that we have at the MPO? Because this is a great project. However, this project is going to consume a lot of funding. I want to make sure that that bucket of money that's already been put aside for this project gets added onto that bucket. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for the record, let me introduce myself. I'm Cesar Martinez with FDOT. I'm a Planning Environmental Administrator. As you noted, we have allocated funding for the project, but most of the corridor is still unfunded, okay? So the action today will make the corridor part of the state highway system, so therefore will make it eligible for state funding in the future to complete the rest of the corridor. Having said that, the funding priorities of the departments are safety and system preservation, not necessarily congestion relief. So the priorities of the department will be focused on that, and the conditions of the road and the safety of the road will be definitely taken into consideration for future funding allocations. Okay. Having said that, we will focus on leveraging all their funding sources that are available, working with the county at the federal level, and our focus also will be to maintain the MPO priorities that have already been funded so they can continue being delivered.
Okay. That sounds great. So my question again is, are we going to have the money that's already set aside be added in addition to what is currently at the MPO?
So for a project to continue, they need to be consistent from the TIP and the STIP, the state TIP. Okay. So technically, yes, it needs to be added to the TIP.
And when you say safety, have you ever driven this road?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and have you gone through the waves? Yeah. Okay, so this is definitely a safety concern for our county, for our drivers, right, for our truckers. So I think this is why the mayor is so excited about this. I just want to make sure that this road is going to require a lot of funding. And by doing this, other projects that are in the priority of the county don't fall through the crack, or that I was hoping that this would rise in priority a little higher, and then we don't have to go through that 5-year process that we go through the MPO. And if there's already funding set aside, that it comes over along with the road. So, anything that we can do to prioritize safety is the utmost. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I still have it? Yeah. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, so we had our first and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? See that passes unanimously. Oh, Mr. Rudder? Okay, we are passed.
Were there any cards?
No, there were no cards.
Mayor, Board of Commissioners, we also have the sign says State Road 880, and after the vote, we will love to see you do a commemorative picture for that. But commend Mayor Baxter and also Administrator Bruzzo taking the lead on this. We had a meeting with the Secretary of Purdue in January, and Secretary Purdue, in order to get better funding for this, said we'll put it on the state highway system. And so this was a major initiative for the mayor and also our administrator.
And thank you so much for all the hard work you and staff, everyone, Joanne, and Chris and Caesar. Thank you, everyone, for all the hard work, working together. I don't know we've ever had this easy of a collaboration, everyone on the same page, moving so forward. It has just been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
We'll take a picture, but I do want to commend, the DOT staff here, District 4, Steve Brown staff, they've been tremendous in terms of taking the lead on this, and so, this is great. So we'll get the sign and we'll take a picture.
All right. Did you?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, so Commissioner Sachs, did you have a
I just wanted to
comment?
thank you. I know you've been working on this a long time. It's in Tallahassee and here, and I can see that when you put your mind to something and with the help of staff and FDOT, you get it done. So thank you very much for that on behalf of the people.
Thank you. It's definitely been a group effort. I can't thank everyone enough. And enjoy your lunch, everyone. Since we do not want to start any new items, and I have no lights,
To take a picture.
we are going to adjourn the meeting, but after we do that, we will take the picture with the, or not, excuse me, recess. Thank you, Commissioner Weiss, and take a picture with the State Road 880 sign.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Look at the sign, we'll bring it up there.
Just recently, the Palm Beach County Convention Center was the site of the 17th Annual Southeast Florida Regional Climate Leadership Summit. This summit brings together many of the region's most dedicated professionals, providing a nexus to learn from one another, share ideas, and build connections that advance South Florida's resilience and sustainability. This year's theme, Roots of Resilience, Cultivating a Sustainable Future, highlights innovative nature-based strategies emerging across our region, including green infrastructure, urban agriculture, afforestation, and other community-driven initiatives.
The Resilience Action Plan will guide our capital planning. It identifies 30 top priority and cost-effective projects that enhance drainage, reduce flood